Okay, Wednesday the 23rd of September, and we've got James for another update. I think this is number 34, 35,
Yep.
we've done James, isn't it? But obviously there's a lot been happening in the last couple of days. I know you've just come off a call with the group from the National North. Do you want to give us a little update on how you see things?
Yes, obviously we got the rather devastating news yesterday from the government that pilots are going to be stopped in terms of having 1,000 fans, and generally fans will no longer be allowed in our level. They've put a caveat of 3 to 6 months. I think when they say 3 to 6 months, we potentially have to gear that to the end of the year, or the end of the season, sorry, that we won't be having fans in. It's gutting. So much effort has gone in at this football club to get us to a stage where we should be safely allowed to have football fans back in. And when I say the staff have put the effort in, I put volunteers in amongst that. You know, I regard our volunteers as staff. We have volunteers at this club who have been more beneficial to this football club than some of the paid staff over its recent history. So all the people who have put that effort in, you know, I really feel for them, and I feel for the fans. You know, they've supported us all the way through this, and they want to come back, and we want them back here. But this is a time where we have to put a call to arms out. We need them to support us more now than what they were going to if we can get them back in. We are a club who's in a position that we are damned if we do and damned if we don't in terms of our restart. There are some clubs in the National League North who have put conditions into contracts. Some have got 18 players of their squad where their contracts don't start unless the season starts. We have players when furlough ends, we have split, I think it's 11-7, 11 of them will need to be paid. So for us, it's in the best interest of that we need to start. We, in essence, chaired a meeting of the National League North clubs tonight. I will leave that sort of outcome until tomorrow and where we're going to go with that as a collective group. But the general consensus is we can't start without any sort of financial support. That financial support as a business is going to come from help from hopefully the government and help from the Premier League. Whereas a minimum, we are looking for our additional gate receipts to be covered. When I look at our gate, if we get the gate receipts covered over the next 3 months, we've got a black hole of 60 to 100,000 pounds that we need to make up, and that's the loss of hospitality, it's the loss of some sponsorships, it's the loss of the beer sales. But like any business in the high street, we have to make difficult decisions. These decisions will all be based around the long-term survival and sustainability of our football club. If the season starts, we have to make sure that when we start it, we can finish it. And if it doesn't start and we are mothballed for X amount of months, which I don't think for a minute will be an option, we can't have the leagues above us starting, the league below us starting, and we are not starting. We're in a pyramid system. There has to be a feed somewhere. And if steps 1 and 2 disappear from a pyramid, the pyramid crumbles. So we basically need to be looking at starting. Can we delay the season? I don't think so. There's a decision tomorrow coming from an announcement coming from the Chancellor on how they're going to support businesses through the winter. So we may get some good news from that. But we have the oldest club competition starting a week on Saturday, and it would be horrendous to think that step 1 and step 2 can't enter that competition. Some of the clubs in the National League setup have been calling themselves EFL 3, which is the division above us. I think we need to remember we are all in this together, and that was the important part of the National League meeting tonight. There were some clubs who could start, there were some clubs who couldn't, but we'll take a collective and we'll all sing from the same hymn sheet and have a collective voice. The sort of point that we need to make to the fans is we need you to support us now. There's a significant amount of money that would be due back in refunds. I'm not asking you to contact me now and start saying we want the money back. We'll put a returns policy out there, but if fans ask for their season ticket money back, we're talking about £30,000 that we need to find. So that 60 to 100 becomes 90 to 120,000 pounds, and whether we could survive through that is not looking likely. We had invested a lot of money in the return of fans, and we're about to spend about £3,500 on line marking around the stadium for one-way systems. Given the news yesterday, we have moved that into very quickly a live streaming service. We're looking at that live stream similar to what Scarborough have, and watching that last night, it was fantastic, and we're looking to offer that as a replacement for your season ticket or your membership, and that's what we would give you free of charge, and that would be an additional revenue that we can bring in. it's tough times, but we're hoping over the next 48 hours, 72 hours that we'll get an update of where we are as a football club and how we go forward from this. We will continue these interviews, probably more so over the next couple of days than what we've ever done over the last couple of weeks, to keep fans up to date. But simply bear with us, don't bombard us with refunds or questions. We will get the information to you as quick as we have it.
I think it's critical times for all football clubs, isn't it? And particularly at our level, it is going to be difficult. And I think people need to understand that, James.
Yeah, I mean, we look at this elite classification that we have, and people say that was to do with the playoffs. That's nonsense. The playoffs were played because they could have been done safely. You didn't have to be elite to be able to test people. You didn't have to be elite to play closed door matches. And that's where people are saying, well, let's become non-elite. But look at the north east of England tonight, who were allowed 30% of their minimum grading, which was 600 fans. That's now been cut back to 15% tonight as a preventative measure. If they did that to us, we would be looking at 450 fans of 15% of our 3,000 minimum grade. We couldn't survive in 450 fans coming here each week. So the hope is that the government or the Premier League can fund our gate receipts, and we would just have to cut our costs accordingly elsewhere around to maintain survival.
You mentioned the streaming. We've been testing it out and trying to make sure it works, and something positive to look forward to if the worst case scenario does come, isn't it?
Yeah, the only downside would probably be your commentary on a match day, Rob, which I don't think people would pay for. But yeah, it's something that we have to get out there. We need to give an alternative to fans. And able to still continue to support the club.
Yeah, like you say, I think the next few days are going to be critical, and I think it's important that we keep everybody up to date. So hopefully we'll speak again in the next few days.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, basically, don't phone us. We'll phone you. Please don't update, inundate us with calls and emails. We will get the information out as soon as we have it.
Thanks, James.
Okay, thank you.